Renji ABARAI, more commonly known as Gotei's 13th 6th Division Lieutenant, Rukia's Gimp, and the L of Bleach. Yep, this guy can never take any W's. He lost to both his girlfriend's brother and best friend. The list goes on and on. But what if I told you that's because everything Renji has known is a lie? Renji has a secret power that even he didn't know about. Something so strong, it allows him to rival the strongest Shinigamis in Bleach, such as Soifun, Rukia, and even Kenpachi.
Stop the cap.
I know. You're probably thinking, ABD, you have officially lost it. But honestly, it's true. Renji is actually a goat, all due to his true Bankai.
Are you serious right now, bro?
Okay, now you're taking a piss. I'm not talking about that one. It's this one. That's right. Renji's Bankai has gotten a power up in the 1000-year Blood War arc. And now, with this, Renji can finally get some dubs. But to understand how this even happened, we have to go all the way back in time to Renji's past. You see, Renji wasn't always a loser. In fact, he did pretty well for himself. Renji grew up as an orphan in the 78th district of Rukongai and served as the leader of a small group of kids, which included his future wife, Rukia. As kids, the group had to struggle to find food and so would steal and loot from other people just to survive. It's here where Rukia and Renji both discovered their spiritual powers. Rukia, however, was always more proficient with her powers, which started to make Renji feel inferior to her. Despite this, the two would become closer as the years went on and would eventually come to consider each other as family. These orphans hated the district they lived in and made a promise to one day leave so they can search for the families they lost when they crossed over from the world of the living. Sadly, 10 years after Rukia joined the group, everyone besides her and Renji died. The two then promised each other to become soul reapers so they can use their spiritual powers for the greater good. They then enlisted in the Shinigami Academy. Due to Renji's surprisingly exceptional skills, he was placed in advanced classes and would become close friends with both Momo Hinamori and Izuru Kira. Despite this, his closest friend would remain as Rukia. Well, that was until this guy showed up. The moment Byakuya enters the picture, he steals Renji's girl by adopting Rukia into his family. He does this because Rukia's sister was actually Byakuya's wife, and her dying wish was for her husband to find Rukia. And Rukia, being hypergamous by nature, of course accepts the offer. I'm just kidding. Renji actually pushes her as, it would be a quick shortcut to the top. With that, she immediately graduates from the academy and becomes part of the Kuchiki clan. Even though he was sad about losing his best friend, Renji was happy that Rukia finally had a family, something she always longed for. But that doesn't mean he was gonna sit around doing nothing, as he now had a goal of rising the ranks of Gotei 13 to reunite with her. After seeing Byakuya's intense spiritual pressure for the first time, Renji becomes infatuated by his strength and vows to defeat him. Renji would train every day to beat him, but he couldn't come close even once.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
After graduating from the academy, Renji would be moved around several different squads in the Gotei 13. Initially, he was assigned to Squad 5 alongside Izuru and Momo. However, due to his rebellious personality, he was booted over to Squad 11. This is where he met and befriended Ikkaku, who taught Renji how to fight after seeing his ambition to become stronger. Now, this training wasn't a joke, but Renji was able to persevere. After completing this training, Renji had become a master swordsman, being able to keep up with Ikkaku's Shikai and having mastered several swords technique. 40 years after Rukia's adoption, Renji was promoted to Lieutenant of the 6th Division, under none other than his idol, Byakuya. With this, he would also finally reunite with his best friend, Rukia. Now you're probably wondering, both of them were inside Sarete, so why couldn't they just see each other, huh? Well, remember guys, as kids, Rukia would mop the floor with him in almost everything. She was a natural whilst he was struggling. This created a sense of inferiority for Renji when it came to Rukia, so he avoided meeting her until he felt worthy. However, once he achieved his goals, it wouldn't last, as Rukia would be sentenced to death after sharing her Soul Reaper powers with Ichigo, and Renji was assigned to bring her back. Although distraught over Central 46's decision, he couldn't do anything but follow the law, and so alongside Byakuya would willingly bring Rukia back to Soul Society. This is where he would first meet Ichigo, and after whooping his ass, would successfully complete his mission. However, we all know how much of a goat Ichigo is. No way he was gonna let that slide. Renji would face off against Ichigo again during his invasion of Soul Society, and it's here where we finally get to see Renji's power properly showcased. Like most top tier Shinigamis, Renji possesses a great amount of spiritual energy along with boosted base stats. With Renji enhanced strength, he was easily able to toss Ichigo into the air, subsequently pushing him through an entire building a dozen meters away. But his greatest asset is his Zanpakuto, Zabimaru. Renji's Shikai command is Howl, and with that his Zanpakuto transforms into a longer 6-part segmented blade, with each segment being wider than the one preceding it. These sections can grow in number almost limitlessly. This makes Renji's Shikai extremely agile and formidable in the distance it can cover. The main ability of Renji's Shikai is Higa Zeko, which translates to Baboon Fang Bite. Using this technique, Renji can use his spiritual pressure to alleviate the disconnected or broken segment of Zabimaru, allowing him to execute a one-shot omnidirectional attack. Renji's Shikai isn't perfect however, as it leaves him open to counter-attacks. To accommodate this, he has become proficient in Shunpo, where now Renji can even keep up with captain level Shinigamis for some time. However, this doesn't stop Ichigo from slapping his ass. After taking this L, Renji decides to help Ichigo and his friends to save Rukia from her execution. He would even train to unlock his Bankai with Zabimaru in Yurichi's underground facility to then confront Byakuya. And this Bankai did a pretty decent job considering it wasn't even real. Renji's false Bankai is Hihiho Zabimaru. This Bankai transforms Renji's Zanpakuto into a massive version of his Shikai form, resembling a skeleton of a snake. It also gains a snake-like head, roughly the size of a car. Renji is also slightly transformed himself as he gains a fur coat with an ape skull on his right shoulder. Something important to mention is that this Bankai does not cut like its Shikai. Instead, Renji relies on the snake head to catch opponents and smash them into the ground. In fact, this Bankai has 4 major abilities. The first is Bankai Reconstruction, where Renji's spiritual pressure is able to dismantle and reassemble Zabimaru's segments. Even if these segments are damaged, knocked off, or destroyed, Renji can simply reform them. The second is Hikotsu Taiho, or Baboon Bone Cannon, which is a concentrated spiritual energy blast from Zabimaru's mouth. The third is Enhanced Higa Zeko, a stronger version of his Shikai technique. And finally, Ryatsu Ropes, which can separate Renji's Bankai segments and use them to surround his opponent. He can then combine and capture his enemy within Zabimaru's segments, creating a sturdy and powerful rope. Now, although this Bankai is pretty strong, it's still nothing compared to Byakuya's. And so, Renji takes another L.
However, one good takeaway for Renji was that after Rukia was saved by Ichigo, he became his friend. Yay! Come on, being the friend of a MC is a dub for any side character, and Renji, he doesn't have a lot of those, so we take those. Renji would then assist Ichigo during the Arrancar invasion and travel to Wako Mundo to rescue Orihime. He would even be one of the Soul Reapers to come to Ichigo's aid during the confrontation with the Fullbring, and then over the course of the series, the two had formed an unbreakable friendship, and Renji was able to become even closer to Rukia. But things wouldn't last, because the Son of God appeared. Yuak's return to the world of Bleach changed everything. Him and his Quincy army completely destroyed the Soul Society as multiple Soul Reapers faced death. During the first invasion, Renji and Byakuya are cornered by Sternwitter F. Renji attempts to fight him, but is then attacked by another Sternwitter, Mask D Masculine. During this fight, Byakuya's Bankai is stolen and Renji gets packed up, like in every fight. After the Quincy retreat, Renji is gravely injured and alongside Ichigo, Rukia, and Byakuya is sent to the Soul King's palace to receive treatment. This is where things finally take a turn for our boy. Not only does he get patched up, but Renji also undergoes an intense training course under Squad Zero and their captain himself, Ichibe, who is by the way the strongest Shinigami in Bleach. Ichibe's experience and knowledge is boundless, and with him as his teacher, Renji was guaranteed to get stronger. But it's here where Ichibe drops a bombshell on Renji, revealing that he knows the true name of all the Zanpakuto, and Renji's Zabimaru has actually kept its true name a secret from him all along.
Nani?
Bruh, Renji is such an L, his Zanpakuto wouldn't even tell him his real name. He gave him a fake Bankai, bruh.
I am having a very bad day.
But through Ichibe's training, Renji is able to evolve his Bankai like a Pokemon. Before the 1000-year Blood War, Renji's Bankai took its unrealized form, which, mind you, was already pretty powerful, but after learning his Zanpakuto's true name, So Zabimaru, Renji is on a completely different level. Unlike his previous Bankai, this Zabimaru doesn't take an animalistic form. Rather, it's now more compact and worn as an armor. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Renji gets a new drip.
Hell, it's about time.
In this enhanced form, Zabimaru gains even more special abilities. The first is Hihio, which translates to Baboon King. This is where the fur coat on Renji's right shoulder transforms into a large skeletal arm covered in green fur. This ability possesses incredible strength, having enough power to crush bones and throw around opponents with ease. The next ability is Orochio, or Great Snake King. When activated, the bone structure around Renji's waist uncurls to reveal a snake-like tail, which Renji can use as an agile weapon. This technique also transforms the blade portion of this Bankai into a larger, serrated form. And the final ability is So Zabimaru Zaga Teppo, which translates to Twin King Snake Tail. After impaling an enemy with his blade, Renji clenches his fist and twists his sword like a key, which creates jaws of spiritual energy. These teeth then close on the enemy, and at the same time, Renji follows up by firing a blast of spiritual energy in the incapacitated foe. This attack is so strong, it can reduce his opponents to ash. And honestly, this transformation shot Renji's social credit to like the roof. He blew the roof apart. But if you're still not convinced this guy isn't a loser, let me show you just how good he is during the rest of the 1000-year Blood War. In Yuha's second attack on the Soul Society, this is where Renji decides he's tired of losing and takes revenge against the guy who beat his ass the first time, Sternwitter Mask. During this fight, Renji is able to cut Mask's abdomen, but this is ultimately futile as Mask takes on a new form due to the cheers of his subordinates, as he's empowered by those cheers. Mask goes in for another attack but is blocked by the activation of Renji's Bankai. When he does this, things go very wrong for Mask. Utilizing multiple of his Bankai techniques, Renji is able to completely overpower the Quincy, scorching Mask's body and killing him. Renji would use his true power a few more times during the war, such as against Quincy Bazbi, which would end in a truce between the two as Bazbi decides to help the Soul Reaper stop Yua. However, would you believe me if I told you that the last time Renji used his power was against the Son of God himself? Yup, Renji somehow manages to fight alongside Ichigo and the GOAT Aizen against Yuha's Almighty, but he gets completely wrecked. What did you expect, man? What did you expect? This guy is an L machine. Of course he's gonna take the biggest L from the biggest menace in Bleach. Basically, Renji dies at Yuha's hand, but that is until it's revealed to all of us that it was an illusion by Aizen. Holy bruh. It was all according to Aizen's plan, guys. Renji took the L because of Aizen's plan. Cut that L off his L list. Aizen used his Shikai Kyoka Suigetsu to make Yua think he was fighting both Ichigo and Renji, when in reality, it was just him the whole time.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
While this was going on, Renji was actually with Ichigo, who is traveling through the Dangai on his way to the Soul Society to fight Yua. It's here when Renji tells Ichigo it's because because of him that he and Rukia became so close friends again, and that he would always push Ichigo further. Renji would then actually assist Ichigo and Aizen in the real final battle of the war, where Yuha would face his ultimate demise. Less than 10 years after the war, Renji would somehow rizz up Rukia and the two would get married.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
But that's not all. Renji would also have a daughter named Ichika Abarai, who has inherited his red hair color. So you guys can't say, oh, it was Ichigo. He snuck in at night, you know, that's Renji still took the L, but that's his kid now. All right, it's confirmed. They got the same hair. Ichika would travel to the human world alongside her parents and meet Kazui Kurosaki, the son of Ichigo and Orihime, where the two became close friends. We get to see the bond between Renji and his daughter in the No Breaths from Hell one-shot, where Espada number 8 is revived and he traps Renji in order to kill Ichigo to get retribution for what Renji did to him back in the day. But Renji is a good dad because he calls on Ichigo to help him save his child. Let's go. He couldn't even help his child, bro. He had to call Ichigo. Basically, Renji is able to break free of his constraints and take Ichigo somewhere safe, showcasing how much he cares for her. Renji didn't become a captain during Bleach, but it's likely that he's next in line if anyone were to step down from their position. Perhaps we'll see Renji become a captain and see more of his true Bankai in the Hell arc if Kubo decides to continue it. But do you know who we might see during this arc? The original Gote 13. So go check out this video where we go in full detail about their origins and designs to learn more about the mysterious and powerful first generation of the Gote 13.